Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurvedeva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 12th of June 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Paramatma Bhagwan residing in the heart of every being at all times. We are continuing to examine the Ātma-Nivedanam Bhakti, the 9th Bhakti. And to continue from yesterday we were talking about interoception, interoception. I have to still load yesterday's talk, but I'll load that just later on today. It's very interesting that about recognizing the changes in the physical body that one can be aware of, the moment-to-moment awareness of the heartbeat and breath, visceral sensations, etc. Now, this is a heightened awareness of the physical body based on the level of development of the Ātma-Nivedanam Bhakti. The Ātma-Nivedanam Bhakti means we are offering ourselves to Paramatma, offering our vritti, our shakti, our buddhi, everything at the feet of God. That is called Ātma-Nivedanam. Again, that is a very high stage. It's a very developed stage from within. The 9 forms of devotion that we have been, the beginning 8 forms lead to this 9th form of devotion. And in this 9th form of devotion, there is tremendous, great level of humbleness, humility, aham shunya bhav in front of Paramatma. That is actually what we are surrendering. The surrendering or offering is that it's the offering of the ego at the feet of Paramatma. But all the other, the approaches that we take, the physical sadhanas that are done to offer that ahankar at the feet of Paramatma. And as we mentioned several times already, saintliness, sadhuta is critical. The qualities of a bhakta in chapter 12 in the Gita are necessary to be able to offer the ahankar at the feet of Bhagavan. Yes, we offer fruits and flowers and we offer our karma and all those things. Yes, definitely. Karma yoga is there. We do our jap yagna. There are thousands of sadhanas. Pradikshanas are done. Scriptural teachings are studied. Listening to great discourses from very enlightened sages. All those things. Beautiful. Fantastic. But remember what the Gita is saying in chapter 12, verses 13 through 20. It lists the entire range of the qualities of a bhakta. So this is the connection. These 9 forms of devotion are from Srimad Bhagavatam. These qualities listed in chapter 12, from verse 13 to the end of the chapter, verse 20, are also the qualities needed of a bhakta to be a true bhakta. So many scriptures talk about this, and just to kind of see if we can make a little bridge there, Bhagavan Krishna says, Adveshta sarva bhutanam, right in chapter 12. See these qualities. We'll go through some of them. To be in that state of Ātma-Nivedanam, we want to offer the ego at the altar of God. How is this done? Well, if you go through chapter 12, start with verse 13 and go until verse 20, and we'll cover it a little bit here today, and there's some other subjects to cover also, we will find beautifully that these are the qualities we have to see. It's a mirror. Do I have those qualities? Do I have this adveshta sarva bhutanam, no dvesha bhav towards anybody? I won't mention any names. Look at the political situation throughout the world. Are we in that state? When we turn on the news, we see somebody, some politician, whoever that is, I won't take any names. What happens, right? Throughout the world. Bhagwan Krishna कहते हैं advaishta sarvabhutanam. Even if there's one person that we have a dislike towards, this Ātma-Nivedanam is a failure. Kitni difficult baat hai. Think about that. Even if one person, one being, any being, Sarva Bhutanam means all the beings, not just human beings. If a bee stings us, what happens? We will want to slap that bee, and most people will do, will be angry, or something will happen, some reaction will be there. Oh, this terrible bee. If somebody says something to us, and we get inflamed. This rag or dvesh, this is the biggest, massive obstacle. Bhagwan Krishna says in chapter 2 that these are the two biggest stumbling blocks to the realization of the Atman. The video we just saw, that just a 2-minute video we just saw, that was from a Maharashtrian saint, from Maharashtra, Nisargadatta Maharaj. Unki bhi bahut story hai. You can look him up and it's amazing. It's all about Atmagnan, pure Vedanta. But the point he was making is that to realize who you are, you already are the Atma. Atma is not to be realized, something new will come in that. It is a realization of who you are. Swam, Swayam Atma, Swayam Jyoti, Ayam Atma Brahma. Right? But to realize the Atma and then to realize the Paramatma, both realizations are possible through Ātma-Nivedanam Bhakti. And these qualities is where we have to pay our attention. We can talk about Brahma Vidya and listen to big saints and all that. That sounds very nice, but without those qualities, it's all just up all in the air. You see, so that doesn't help us that much until these qualities are directly inside of us. Advaishta Sarva Bhutanam, Maitra Bhav, the feeling of friendliness towards all beings. You see, forgiveness, Kshami, forgiveness towards all. Sometimes we hold, so much tension inside, negative feeling towards somebody did this. Before going to bed at night, sit in front of the Murti of Bhagwan, forgive everybody. Don't hold any kind of negative towards anyone. This is called Kshami, K-S-A-M-I, Adveshta Sarvabhutanam, Maitra Karuna Evacha, Nirmamo Nirahankara, Sukha Dukha, Kshami. This is verse 13, I believe. Yes. Amazing. There's multiple verses there. So, Adveshta Sarvabhutanam, Maitra Karuna Evacha. See, Sama, Sukha Dukha. Samatva. Jivan mein sukh aata hai, dukh aata hai. The Gita's central teaching, it's one of its main teachings, is to ensure that our internal flow of Shakti is balanced, and that is the Samatva. Sama, Dukha, Sukha. Samatva, Sam means equanimity. That is a stage of realization, day to day, as we are moving 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, and performing our 9 forms of bhakti. Yes, don't waste time. In the Shikshapatri, Sajanand Swami Maharaj बहुत सुंदर बात करते हैं. Don't waste time. We already know this, right? That vyartha kalena netavyo bhaktim bhagavato vina. But it's not easy. It doesn't happen just like that. It takes time to develop the ability to stay more in the 9 forms of devotion. It's not going to just, Sachin can just decide, wake up one day, well, okay, my 9 hours, I'm going to just be in Navada Bhakti. Try for 9 minutes first, then worry about 9 hours later. It doesn't happen like that. It's a development. The timing is increased. This is how sadhana is developed. Now there's 2 points here to keep in mind. slowly and systematically increase sadhana. Slowly. And if some people get excited, I'm just going to do, 21 malas, and it's like you get really excited and the jolt of energy is there, and then it all fizzles out and don't do anything for next 2-3 days. Aisa nahi. Start with small sadhanas first, but do them consistently. There's so many sadhanas. We will go through them all. We've already gone through many, but there's thousands. There's no end to how many there are. Start with small steps. Like, for example, many people in the Sanatan Dharma Hindu community, in the morning they'll place a small incense sticks, make a small diya. Maybe they'll just fold their hands, and then maybe they'll do that much. Some people don't even do that. Start there. But create a mandir in the home first of all. So there's basic steps to take. I won't go through all of them here. But through that process, sadhana is increased gradually. But the key in that is to not increase it gradually or in any way through ahankar. That I am doing this sadhana. That is the trouble. Now, how do we detect that? We detect it by the feeling we get from the ego. In Gujarati, it is called Man Rupi Hadku. There's a whole Vachanamrut actually. There's a beautiful example. Maharaj gives this example of a dog, who's chewing on the bone, right? But then chewing on the bone, but also chewing his own cheek. And is getting the blood from his own cheek and is enjoying that blood. That is like that the enjoyment that comes from the ego, you're chewing on your own your own spirituality. It's not going to help. So ahankar is a danger in this. Watch out for that. Let that ego go. It doesn't matter if somebody knows how much sadhana we're doing. Sometimes that happens, that I did this much. Or we want to let somebody else know that, okay, the ego can work that way. But then the ego can work another way. I didn't tell anybody how much sadhana I did, how wonderful I am. Ego works that way. Ego doesn't leave anybody. You see, it works some way or another. Look at how humble. I've done so many prostrations in front of Sri Krishna, in front of the goddess Devi. 108 prostrations I'm doing every day at home, not telling anybody. My God, that's God knows. Okay, I don't want it. Again the I comes. It nullifies the effect. Yeah, punyam is there, but it doesn't take us into that gunatit state. Guno se bahar nikalna hai. So sadhana is to be increased slowly and carefully. Slowly, to the point. What is the ultimate goal of sadhana? Is to reach the 10th bhakti, where 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, until the last breath of life, there is unbroken connection with Paramatma. That is the goal. Isko gunatit sant kehte, highest level saints. You become a saint then. Saint is not by clothes and malas and tilaks and all those things. Those are external things only. That's all. That's fine. Antarvritti, hamari jo manovritti hai, it doesn't break with Paramatma ever. That is our goal. In every action, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be doing anything in life. And we do so many activities, but the internal communion, the internal absorption with Paramatma is unbroken. Right? That is our goal. But we cannot just reach that goal like that. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavanam prapadyate. Bhagwan Krishna says many lifetimes can go. But we don't want, but there's another way. We don't want many lifetimes. We want to do it this lifetime. Why wait for millions of lifetimes? Is that necessary? Keep spinning around inside the Maya? It's not necessary. We don't have to wait for millions of lifetimes. We can do it. Actually, we can do it right now. Do it in the sense that we can set the destination कि भगवान का अखंड स्मरण करना है. This is the goal. But how clear is that? Is that even clear? That to actually do something like this? It's not usually. It's like, okay, yeah, we'll do some of it. Then we get tired. Of course, that's why sadhana is to be done gradually. Eventually, as these beautiful qualities, in chapter 12 that are described, sukha, dukha, samatva, the anapeksha, adveshta, all these fantastic qualities, they come about. Then our actions, we have to decide the range of action. That is karma yoga. Just like, for example, we have so many now these channels, YouTube channels and all those things. You have to decide what to watch from there. A decision has to be there. What to read, what to watch, who to talk to. There's a boundary. That boundary of interaction with the outside world is called dharma. Right? And because that boundary is necessary to protect bhakti. If we get bhakti, if bhakti begins to open up, it has to be protected as the most precious thing in life. It has to be protected by dharma. And how do we do that? By setting a boundary of interaction with people, places, circumstances, things. So much is going on all the time in the sansar. How much to interact with, what to interact with. Should we be reading 3 newspapers fully every day? Or should we be reading Srimad Bhagavatam? So maybe read some part of the newspapers, get some headlines, know what's going on, leave it alone. That is part of the anitya world. It's there, we wish well for all, move out of it. Don't get disturbed by what's happening in the outside world. Because the outside world is a bubble only. This body is a bubble only. And the mind is also changing constantly. The Atma-Tattvam is the only real Tattva. Brahma Tattva, Parabrahma Tattva, that is real, not this sansar. Millions of people are coming and going. They're born and they're dying and living and doing all kinds of things. We have to interact. We have to live with everybody in the best way, with wishing well, but never to be disturbed from inside because of the problems of the world. The world, it's not that the world has problems, the world itself is the problem. Understand the difference. It's not, people say the world has so many problems. Of course, because the world itself is the problem. This avastha, this jagrata avastha will disappear when we realize God. This world will disappear. That is called nirvikalpa samadhi. Jab bade sant samadhi mein jate hai, they have all these beautiful qualities, like they have everything ready to go. They are only maintaining the body by the divine will for the benefit of the world, and they can just leave the body anytime. Body hamara swarup hai hi nahi. It is made out of the different tattvas, but it is a sadhana. It is the greatest sadhana to realize the Atman and the Brahman. Otherwise, our mental mechanism will just be lost in the vortex of the sansar. This sansar is what? This sansar, just material existence. Isme kya hai? 333. What is it? Kanchan, Kamini, Kirti. Running after money, running after sex, and running after the position and power. 3 things are there, all the way through. This is the sansar. The whole economy is based on these 3. If somebody rises above these 3, you are going beyond the Swadhisthana chakra into the Anahat chakra. That is where bhakti begins. To go beyond these 3 is where bhakti begins. To stay within those 3, cycle of birth and death. Become ants and dogs and frogs and whatever it is. Elephants and whatever, different human beings. Nark mein jana, swarg mein jana, yahan jana, wahan jana. ब्रह्मांड से बाहर निकल नहीं सकते as long as these 3 are there. कंचन, कामिनी, कीर्ति, यही संसार है, और कुछ नहीं इसमें. इतनी ही बात है. These 3 things only. And the whole 99.999% of the human population is burning in these 3. Burning literally. Kanchan, Kamini, Kirti. Kamini doesn't mean women, it means the internal attachments. I see, it's not a criticism of those 3 also. They have a place. But to rise above that is where these 9 forms of devotion come into the picture. We don't want to be burned by these 3. We need to keep them where they need to be. They are part of the sansar. But to rise above them internally, where there is akhanda bhakti, unbroken devotion. And as life progresses, the stages of life progress, we can eventually reach that. But don't delay. Many people think, I'll do this when I'm much older. Has anybody given Sachin a guarantee you're going to become old in life? What guarantee is there? It's the most foolish statement anybody can ever make, that I will worship God when I'm old. Has God given you some written guarantee that you will even become old? Kitni murkhta hai ye. Don't delay. Not for 1 second भक्ति को डिले नहीं करना. मंदिरों में जाना, प्रदक्षिणा करना, शास्त्रों का पठन करना, as much as we can do it and slowly. Don't delay. Some people have this wrong idea. I'll just close with this point that scriptures say if you take the name of God at the last breath, you get liberated. So let's just wait until then. Why do all this? Waste of time. Puja, archana, all this thing. Just take the name of Ram at the end, you'll be liberated. Yeah, maybe if you can take the name of Ram at that time, who knows, right? Ante yamati sagati. That is a naam ka mahima hai. That you cannot use that incident to say that I'm just going to not do anything. ऐसा होता ही नहीं. By the time that end point comes and we haven't done any real connection with Paramatma, our mind is lost inside the sansar. It will cause rebirth. So you will not be able to take the name of God. Even if you take it, that's a good thing. Bhagwan ki krupa hoti hai. It depends on the connection. That's another subject altogether. It's a more metaphysical subject. But anyway, let's stop here for now. The sadhana for today, very simple sadhana. Is there even one person that we don't like in this world? Who is that? If there's even one person we don't like, Ātma-Nivedanam Bhakti will not be there. We might think we have Ātma-Nivedanam, not really. Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam, Bhagwan Krishna ki आज्ञा है. Unka teaching hai. Sarva means all beings. Not one should be inside the mind that I do not like this person, this thing, that being. All are okay. Advesh. Koi dvesh nahi. Antar mein. So when we are doing bhakti, we're doing it to reach that stage of adveshta. And then once we reach that stage of adveshta, and then we do bhakti, that is called bhakti that is anointed with saintliness, with that divine quality. And then that is Same Bhakta Priya. Bhagwan Krishna कहते, people who have these qualities, these kinds of devotees, they are dear to me. Chapter 12, verses 13 through 20. We will go through some of them in our journey this month. Okay, so we'll stop here for now and we'll pick it up next time. Thank you all so much. And welcome to some of the new people online also. So, Om Divilingaya Namaha, Urdhvalingaya Namaha, Anandalingaya Namaha, Dvadas Jyotirlingaya Namo Namaha, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Aim Reem Klim Chamundaye Viche Swaha, Om Durge Durge Rakshani, Tha Swaha, Om Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu, Om Rim Swaha.